Hey guys, this is my 1979 Corvette. I haven't driven it much in several years. A lot of that is to do with the carburetor. I ordered in this replacement Chinesium QuadraJet from Amazon. Let's put that on the car and see if it's going to fix our problem for us. Thanks for watching. Now I know kind of sort of what the problem is with this carburetor, and it's the main metering rods got bent at some point, and I think I got them mostly straightened, but obviously they're still not working very well, because when I fire the car up, it's just pouring fuel out the tailpipe, black smoke, and the thing is running really rich. Not good at all. And pretty much the only thing that could be is that the metering rods aren't going down into the jets to close them off at idle. I probably will fix this carburetor, but we'll give the new one a try and see how it's going to work. Looks to me like the fittings should pretty much function the way they're supposed to. We've got our fuel inlet, different vacuums, and throttle linkage. Move this stud for the cruise control over to the other carburetor, but it looks like there's a hole drilled for it, so I think it's going to work. I don't see anything too terrible here. Let me grab some wrenches. We'll get this carburetor ripped off of here and take it over to the bench, and we'll put them side by side and see how they compare. I think this electric choke wire is going to be a problem though, because they've got the original on that on the new one, and I don't have a connector that'll work. Oh well, we'll get that figured out. Let me get the tools and we'll pop this thing off of here and do a side-by-side comparison. Here are our two carburetors, and as I suspected, the cruise control rod is going to have to get moved over. Forgot about the high idle for the air conditioning, because this car does have air conditioning. That'll need to get moved over to the new carburetor. Holes are threaded, that's good. The choke assembly is going to be slightly different, or I'm not surprised that it's slightly different. This is off of I think an 81 car, and it has factory electric choke, whereas this one is off the 79 car, and the electric choke that's currently installed is actually off of a later vehicle. This had the air pipe style choke assembly on it. However, I'm running fuel injection heads, Vortec truck heads, and a Performer intake manifold that does not have a provision for the exhaust crossover, and therefore the heated air pipe style choke. So I went to electric choke. Now the electric choke, this carburetor is designed to work with that, so good. We'll use that provision. So we need tool air. We are going to have to check the jets. This new carburetor came with a number of jets, and according to my brief research on Google, we should be using a 73 jet, small block 350, and I don't know what's in this carburetor because there was zero instructions came with it. So all of the other jets that we have are smaller, 43, 63, and 33. So I'm guessing the 73 will have to be installed in there. Possibly this thing is jetted for a big block right now. I don't know what's in there. While we're taking tops off carburetors, we can take the top off of this one and see what is causing our problem. As I say, I suspect our primary needles are bent, because or the primary needles aren't going down into the jets. That's would be my guess. Let me pop the top off, or let me pull the screws out of both of these carburetors, and then we'll bring you back to pop the top off. I'm not sure how well that shows up in the camera, but this is the primary metering jet. You got one side, the other side, and you can see this side is just ever so slightly bent. Probably can straighten that up and make this carburetor work just fine again. But we got the new carburetor. Let's give it a try. Now you may have noticed that I kind of rolled the carburetor to get the lever arm for the accelerator pump to come out of there. That's fine because we're not using this carburetor. This, however, we plan on using, so we need to do a little tappy tap to get it out of there. And I just got this roll pin kit here not that long ago, or this punch kit. We don't want to get too carried away driving this through. We just want to go far enough we can get this arm out. We don't want to drive the pin in too far because then it'll be contacting the air horn, and then we won't be able to get in behind it to push it back in when we're ready to reassemble. Choke arm is being just a little bit cranky. There we go. Okay. So there's the underside of our new carburetor. Looks pretty good to me. Our accelerator pump that of course is going to push up on everything. I'm going to carefully pop this gasket off. Get the accelerator pump plunger out of there. There we go. I don't think we hurt anything. I don't know, I've never worked on a new carburetor. Any of the carbs I've ever worked on, the enriching valve just popped right out of there. I don't want to break this. This is the enriching valve right here. And that's what drops down in. It is supposed to sit and be kind of stuck in place, but generally any older carburetor like this one, the little plastic plug is kind of loose. Just take a little bit of tweaking to get it out of there. And again, you notice that the rods are not bent at the end. I don't see a number on them anywheres. They do look slightly larger. Maybe they're 83s. This is a 73. Now I do remember when I bought this car, the guy said, oh, it's been jetted up one size because it's got straight exhaust on it instead of going through all the curves that they came from the factory with. So maybe we need to have the larger. Oh, it popped loose. I do not see any numbers on there. Now that we've got the jets changed, first step for reassembly is putting in our float. It just sits down in there. And as the float level comes up in the bowl, it shuts off the fuel. Next we've got the cap. Holds everything lined up. Now we've got I've got our metering rods. This is where we got into trouble before, dropping those down into the jets. Gotta make sure that that goes in straight. Getting these to line up is a little tricky. I'm gonna get one of my magnet lights that'll hang over that so I can see down into the jets. Make sure we get them lined up. I don't want to mess up these metering rods. Now, put the gasket and the accelerator pump on. Feed the gasket in around the metering jets. And put the choke rod up through the hole. Put our top lid back on. I've taken the metering jets for the secondaries out just so there's one less floppy thing that we have to worry about aligning. The kit came with a new air filter gasket and a new base gasket. I may as well use them. Kind of an odd feel to them, but okay. Oh, we forgot to move that plug over. Let me take care of that. I'll be right back. Vacuum port added. And I'm impressed, the Chinesium carburetor even had standard threads. Oh, I made a mistake. These back screws have to hold down the throttle. Next, we'll hook up the varnish supply. Yeah, I dumped some fresh fuel into this thing. Okay, let's go around the other side. We'll connect up the throttle linkages and we'll see how everything looks. I don't know how well that shows up for you guys or not. There's our throttle. Clip. We've got our transmission linkage and it should just fit. There we are. We've got our double throttle return spring. And we've got our throttle rod for the cruise control. I don't think my cruise control works anyways, but I may as well have it hooked up. Oh, and we've got our connector for air conditioner kick, or air conditioner high idle. One more lead that we gotta hook up here is the distributor, and that goes on the ported vacuum. That's important. You want a ported vacuum, which is above the throttle blades, so that you're not sucking your vacuum advance on when you're first turning the engine over, and that creates a too much advance. Once your engine's warm, you'll actually fire before top dead center and damage the starter. Ask me how I know. Well, I'm going to let you guys watch and yell if you see something shooting flames. I'm going to get the car and we'll see if it is going to fire up. Well guys, it's actually a couple of nights later. We ran out of daylight the other night and found a rather atrocious power steering leak that is going to be a problem we're going to have to fix before we can start regularly using the car. But I did give it a quick bath, a little shinier than it was the other day, and took it to the car club meeting, and other than the power steering didn't last the 1.5-mile drive, you know, it didn't do too bad. Anyways, Gus, let's go for a car ride. I don't think he's so sure about that. Oh, he's ready to get in. Get in. You're gonna have to ride on this side. That's where I sit. Yeah. Okay, get over. No, get over. You gotta sit on the other side, silly. Not in the back. Where you going? Puppies. Puppies, I tell you. Yeah, Gus is almost 8 months old. And I left the stereo out because We don't need to risk copyright strikes. Revving up a little high on the fast idle, but it'll slow down. Keep in mind that half the gas is still 15 years old, so I'm not surprised if it's a little bit hesitant when I jazz on it a little bit. Plus, it's not really that warm. And it decides to quit. We don't have any turn signal indication. 1970s GM car with some electrical gremlins. Surprise, surprise. Well, we'll address that. Well guys, it's not perfect, but I don't think any of that is because of the carburetor. Well guys, there's lots more work to do to this car to get it back on good, solid, usable condition, but we're certainly making some progress here. Power steering leak, it needs an oil change, we got to get the fresh gas running through it, get rid of the old stale stuff, and probably wouldn't hurt to throw a set of plugs at it. I do have a new set of plugs. But that's all going to be for another video. This is basically what I was hoping to get accomplished today, minus the power steering leak, of course. Thanks a lot for stopping by. I greatly appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. If you got this far, give me a thumb up, give me a like. If you haven't already done so, consider subscribing to the channel. We've got lots of projects on the go. As you can see, more back there. And I'd love to have you come back and watch some more videos. Until the next one, catch you in the next mess. Thanks for watching.